Okay, Irene, you can, well, I guess first of all, we should ask Ed if he minds running the meeting since he has experience.
I'm sorry, hold on one second. Let me put the volume up. I've got my AC in the background. I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you mind running the meeting since you have a little experience with that?
I would be happy to, except I just got on and I don't have the agenda in front of me.
I can walk you through that.
Okay. Let me just see if I can find it. Or maybe someone that has the agenda can run it. That might be easier than Troy or Ann. Would either of you mind?
You want to go, Ann?
I'm happy you do it, Troy. I have actually
No,
never run it. Okay. So everybody can correct me when I'm wrong.
Yes. Let's go. This is a good one.
Okay. All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the regular meeting of the Board of Ethics and Taxation, August 5th, 6:30 p.m. May I have a call, Madam Clerk?
Mayor Rilling, Mr. Abrams, Mr. Camacho,
I'm here.
Mr. Constant,
Here.
Mr. Gilleret,
Here.
Mr. Casimis, Miss Yang.
Here.
4, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you. So the first item is the approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to open that up for discussion?
So moved, Troy. So moved, Troy.
So are there any comments relative to the minutes for last month? Seeing none, seeing no comment, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Troy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. The next item on the agenda, the transfer. Oh, I'm sorry, the special appropriations agenda, which there is none. So we'll move on to the transfer agenda, section B. Can I have a motion to open up that discussion?
So moved, Troy.
Thank you, Troy. And so, Mr. Ellis, can you take through the transfer discussion?
Sure. The first item is to cover vacation payouts for the mayor's office. There was a change in policy. I see that Tina's on. You feel free to jump in if you would like. But during COVID, they allowed people to roll over their vacation time. Prior to that, I believe it was a 2-week cap. And with the completion of the pandemic, we are going back to the 2-week cap to be able to roll over. So most of the areas that were affected had enough money in their salary budgets to make these payouts, but the mayor did not. So we are looking to transfer just under $10,500 from the city clerk's office to which has an underrun of salaries to the mayor's office to complete that payment.
I don't know if you wanted me to say anything. I'm sorry. What we're trying to do is obviously under the statute, vacation time that is accrued but not used is considered compensation. And so we're trying to clean up the books so that starting July 1, 2024, the appropriate carryover is in everyone's account. So they're allowed to, under most collective bargaining agreements, they're allowed to carry over 10 days. Police are 14 and the grants, I believe, is 5. But as Tom mentioned, during COVID, because people were not using their vacation time, they were allowed to carry it over. So this is the cleanup activity.
Great, thank you. Are there any other transfer requests, Mr. Ellis?
Yeah, there are a number of them. I think, we normally wait till all the transfers are presented before we vote on them rather than doing one by one. So the next one is.
I
for
agree
our-
with that. So I agree with
Hey.
that, yes.
Okay, so the next one is, for the social security account. Normally, historically, we've been budgeting about $3 million per year on that. This year, with the completion of fiscal 24, it came in at about, just over that, 3,228,000. So we are looking to transfer, funds from, various finance departments where there are underruns, so we're not gonna go after contingency for this. And that will cover the overrun of which was, $228,000. Any questions?
No,
Okay. Move on. Next one is, we got two more from the police department. Mickey Dosmo is on the line. He can talk to this. I think we've done this something similar over the last at least 2 meetings. So this should be the final one to clean up all of his fiscal 24 items. Go ahead, Mickey.
Yep, just like Tom said, thank you everyone for, hearing us every month. These transfers are really kind of inconsequential to the overall budget. I'm simply cleaning up some slight deficits just to make sure the balance sheet is nice and clean. So when we do our rollovers in a couple of months, it just is a much neater process. Some of these small deficits have been caused by personnel transfers, and it took the paperwork an extra couple of weeks or so to catch up. This balances everything. It doesn't impact any bottom line numbers. I'm just moving things around, so there's no red in my department. It's as simple as that.
Great, thank you.
All right, next one is register our voters. I do not see anybody on for this, but I can talk to this one. So recall that when we went through the budget process, we did not give them enough funds for all of the unanticipated elections. As you know, they don't always know how many elections they're going to have to do. And the other thing that changed this past year was early voting. So that cost substantially more. So the first 5 or 6 line items are just taking some surpluses and trying to balance out the accounts. And but in the end, it looks like we are going to need about $80,000 from contingency to cover this. So fair amount of that's the overtime, temporary employees, part-time employees. But the other thing that costs money on this is normally on an election day, we have security, police officers at all the voting facilities. With early voting, we needed more police on a regular basis. So this will true up and cover their overruns. But I do have a note here from Brian Smith saying that this is they're likely going to be back again for fiscal 25. We have a primary going on August 13th plus 7 days of early voting. Then in November, there'll be the presidential election with 14 days of early voting. So as in the past, I've asked him to keep good records on all of their expenses, and we'll probably be back again looking for more contingency after all those elections.
Of the transfers, looking at, is this the only one that's going to be coming out of contingency? So it would reduce the contingency about 600,000.
We're at 537 right now, and this will be about 80. So it's going to bring us down to, about 560 or sorry, 460.
Okay, got it. And refresh my memory, how when we close out all the accounts on June 30th, what happens to anything that remains in the accounts? Does that just goes into the general fund, or?
It does, but historically we do the rollover process. In September, I'll go out to all the departments that were under budget and give them a chance to submit rollover requests. And then we vote on those, the BET meeting on October 7th. Historically, BET has approved most, but not all. So we'll go through that process again.
And is the rollover requests, when we approve that, is that in addition to that we've already approved, since that's a overflow or carryover from the previous year?
Say again, Ann, sorry?
Since it may be a carryover from the year's budget, does the amount we put into the budget, does that come out of this year's budget, or essentially
It'll come out of the fiscal 24 budget and into the 25, and that will become the revised budget. So we have the original budget right now, and then plus the rollovers equals your revised budget.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, any other questions on that one? Moving on, city clerk. Taking an underrun again in their full-time regular wages and transferring it to IT software for a software package that will streamline our agenda and minutes citywide. So right now, if you were to poke around on the websites, you might see different formats and different types of presentations, but this will make everything consistent. I think Irene is still on if you want to talk to this one.
Sure. Right now, we do everything manually. There's no consistency. This program will help us with FOIA, standardization, and less room for error and other things.
Is this a one-time fee, Irene, or is this?
It's a yearly fee, a recurring fee. It's really the city really needs this. We'll also store our documents, digitize a lot of our processes. And again, there's lots of checks and balances. We're able to from the committee level up to the council, we were able to track and make sure everybody knows what goes in the agenda, and yeah, so
Given the level of meetings that the city has and the number of minutes and all the record keeping, this is probably money well spent.
yeah, thank you. And a lot of municipalities are using this. We're one of the only ones who still don't have this kind of process.
And this is coming out of your budget, Irene, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
We'll probably have to add it as a line item, sure, for next year if it's a recurring charge, right?
Yes, thank you.
All right, moving on. Firefighting. We do not have firefighting on the line, but I can talk to this one. Recall during our budget reviews earlier this year, there was a line for firefighting other, and that was primarily for, well, not primarily, exclusively for replacement fire hoses. And the recommendation was to open a new account since this would be a recurring charge. So that's what we've done. There's now an account called Fire Hoses, and we're transferring the $14,000 that's in the budget for firefighting other into that firefighting hoses account.
Okay,
So, and moving on, this is the final one. We have Tina on the line still. This is for our timekeeping system, actually our head count tracking system called NeoGov. But they have a number of other modules that help us track head count and personnel and all sorts of things. So Tina, you want to give a little more detail on what this one is for?
Sure. So in FY24, we had decided to add, and this committee thankfully approved, we had two different projects we were proposing, and we had decided to upgrade our NeoGov in order to allow for a Learn module, which helps us with training and development for city employees, as well as an Attract, which helps us with our recruitment efforts. And so we received the bill. And so we knew that there was going to be an increase for FY24 5. We just didn't know exactly how much it was, but so we just budgeted it in the wrong area. So we just want to ask to move it from compensation to the IT services so that we can pay the bill and continue our use of NeoGov, which we like very much and has been really great for the city.
That being it, if no other questions, shall we make a motion to approve these transfers?
So moved, Troy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Thank you.
All right, then sorry, go ahead, Diane.
No, I was just moving on to the other business.
Yeah. So it's just the contingency tracker.
Yep.
And as we just talked about, we were at 537,000 prior to this meeting, and now that will come down to about 460. And what I've also included is the 2025 tracker on the other side. So you'll see that there have been nothing has been approved yet. And this year we have almost $2.6 million in there. Normally we have 1.5, but recall that this is a buffer, if you will, for ongoing labor negotiations. So trying to anticipate what the labor unions will settle on and how much that will cost. So this will give us a buffer to make all the retro wage payments once everything is finalized.
When do those negotiations start?
They're ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah. Last time we did this, I think it was 4 years ago. I believe they settled in October and the retro payments were made in November. So if history is any guide, we probably still have a few more months of negotiations going on.
I'm hopeful it will be sooner than that, but
But
that'll be my drop dead.
Yeah.
So Tom, the 83,000 we just approved is coming from which page? The
it would be that the 2024 page. That'll be the final.
537,000 balance still
Correct.
we're using.
Yep.
That goes down to whatever that is,
Yeah,
minus
four.
83,000.
Yeah, 460-ish.
Okay.
All right, so that's that. I don't see Lisa B on the line, so I think we can jump to Alan Dutton for Oak Hills.
Wow, how quick. Thank you. Evening, everybody. Oak Hills Park Authority has closed its books pretty much on the fiscal year. Just to briefly update you, for the month of June, which is the last month in our fiscal year, we, on a profit perspective, surplus income, we were budgeted to make $151,000. We ended up making $220,000, so $69,000 out of our budget in the month of June. Obviously, the amount of golfers, the good weather did help us out a lot for the month of June. So, having closed the books for the year 2024, looking from a big picture point of view, how do we do? Well, we actually kind of did rather well. We were budgeted on a operating income perspective to make $416,000, and we actually made $607,000. So we were ahead of our budget by $191,000, which is obviously a pretty good result overall. To put it in perspective, we did make $607,000 this year. The same a year ago, year end, we actually made $691,000. So we made more money, last fiscal year, 2023, but we did add the general manager's position in this last fiscal year. So that pretty much made up most of the difference. However, still obviously pretty good to be $191,000 ahead. So I guess the question is, what do we do with this money, basically? So just looking, we anticipate paying or have paid some about $130,000 to the city for our 1% of our total revenue, plus they are the $2 and I forget 20 cents a round that we pay to the city. we've incurred, I believe, about $159,000 in commercial debt, which is payment for our golf carts. We're in the fourth of 5 years leased with them. And also the equipment that Jim Shell uses, we purchase that and we lease it. And that's $59,000 in commercial debt. And our capital budget, what we spend in capital for the year, is about $270,000 worth of capital that we spent on improving the course. And if you deduct that amount of money from the amounts of income we had, we're about in excess of $48,000. We are, I'm not saying we're reaching capacity, but we almost did 50,000 rounds in this last fiscal year. So from an operating point of view, we are doing rather well and hopefully continue to do well. So are there any questions on the financial aspects of
Yeah, Alan, thank you for that update. Thank you for the payment for the loan. You said about 127 on the sheet, right?
Yeah, but I think by the time the auditors come in and stuff like that, it's probably about 130, I think, Troy, between the two.
Okay, I'm just looking at one of the items. The restaurant revenue is line. It says budget was 48, actual is 35. So it looks like it's 12,000 short. You say here, food and beverage operator left, less rent than anticipated. So
Well,
that has nothing to do with, that's just a carryover from the previous vendor, right?
basically, you know, the difference between when Don left and when we struck the O'Dean's deal, obviously we budgeted to have the, you know, the rent, the money basically for 12 months. There was a period of time, say 3 or 4 months, when we didn't have, you know, dry docks making aces. So that is the amount that we were behind during that time. Yeah.
And that bad debt expense I see of 12,330, that's from the previous vendor.
Yeah, previous vendor, some utility bills and stuff like that, which, you know, it was an relatively amicable agreement to get out of it without all the any issues and stuff. But I think it could have been a lot messier, but I think it went relatively cleanly. And that's the amount that it cost us. Yes, Troy, correct.
And we're happy with the vendor. I mean, I'm there quite often, but seems like everything is going well. But are you guys happy? Everyone, both sides are happy right now?
You know, we could always do more business. I'm pleased to see he put in this $10 special. You know, 2 hot dogs, fries, and a youngling beer for $10. It's a pretty good deal, you know. So, you know, and I think they're starting to work now into the outings, work their way in. It's a tough nut to crack, some of these outings, because they want to bring their own stuff and they want to, you know, because they've been doing it for years. But I think we're on the right track. So I'm happy so far.
Good.
Second thing I just wanted to bring to the committee's attention is I did go speak last month about the water situation at Oak Hills in the SNEW was, you know, treating Oak Hills as it was just a regular residence. Well, I did attend the SNEW meeting and was able to make my pitch to them, and they have agreed and to give us variance also actually to Silvermine golf course as well, a variance for golf courses that when there are no drought conditions, obviously when drought conditions come in, it's a different situation for us, but when there are no drought situations in the city of North, we will be able to purchase water from SNEW. The reservoirs are currently 89% full, but I'd like to go on the record of thanking them for working with us and you know, in this area. So I'm pleased to say we come.
So that the water issue has been resolved, it sounds like, yes.
Yes, and obviously when drought conditions come, it's a different situation. But and we're also at the moment, our capital budget, we're going to be looking to drill. We have some wells there at the moment, but they haven't been used for 10, 15 years. We need to go back in and replace pumps, and we should be able to pull out some some water, which will help us during these conditions.
Yeah, like I was surprised when you brought that. I heard that that was grumbling around the course about the water, but it sounds like that's good that that's been resolved. The other thing, real quick, on these outings, I'm surprised when I hear that you guys allow somebody to rent the course for a Monday, close the course to our members, and then they don't use the restaurant, they go to their own place off-site. I mean, I would think that you try to link those two. If you're gonna play an outing, you should kind of use our facilities for the restaurant before and after. I mean, I don't know how you negotiate that, but I was a little annoyed when I did hear that.
Yeah, you know, we're talking about tradition, what's happened in the past. We are chipping away. We started basically, this is the first year that O'Gean's is here. And, you know, we were a little, I'm not saying, we definitely get something. I mean, the restaurant is open for people to come to before they play golf. A lot of these guys, some of them are like O'Neill's, they go back to O'Neill's, you know, and some of the not-for-profits, they go back to some of their establishments as well. We do get the food and beverage on the course, you know, with the beer, with the wagons and stuff like that. We put our foot down on that, so they can't bring their own booze, you know, and obviously bring their own food. And I think, you know, we're going to be, when we come to negotiate these deals next year, Troy, we're going to be a little more putting our foot down a little more. This was the first year, and I didn't want to come down really hard, say, no, you can't do anything and you must come here. So I think next year we're going to ratchet up those regulations as far as these outings.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Like I said, everything looks great there. It's being run very well.
Thank you.
Next item,
I think that's it.
That's it.
can we talk about the bond issuance and the markets?
Sure.
Yep. So we are, we'll be going out to issue at the beginning of September. We're meeting with the rating agencies next week. And just doing some last minute things to get the DOS set. The issuance is going to be 70 million. As we had reported, about 16 of that will be the enterprise entities, and the balance will be for the city. The $55 million balance will be the city. And we are going to, for cash flow purposes, we will probably issue 15 million in advance, which will be to mostly for the schools, as we're waiting for them to reimburse us for payments, that for progress payments that are made that we have to go out of pocket for, and they really become like a grant anticipation note, but you know, technically they're bond anticipation notes.
So
Jared, where are you? Excuse me, and real quick, where are we with the South Norwalk School right now and the high school percentage wise? I know I see a lot of stuff going on at both places.
My understanding is that we had got our first reimbursement for the for South Norwalk about a month ago. That is expected to be done by September of next year. South Norwalk is. As far as the, you know, the percentage that they're still in their very early stages of the school, but yeah, they're, as far as I know, they're still on track to be ready to open in September of next year.
That's yeah, okay.
The high school also even earlier in the earlier stages. And I don't have a detailed update on the progress or where it stands right now, but that one's obviously going to be longer. Another, I was told today, probably about 3 years before that opens.
And everything's as planned as at this point for both projects.
No changes that I'm aware of. The one thing that has come up is that I think I understand that the legislature is going to have to meet to make an amendment to the overall cost of the project for the high school to increase it by $10 million. In the grand scheme of things, it's not bad. We just got a report today, talking about Stanford High School, which is up 53% from what they had budgeted. They budgeted about over $300 million for it. It's up around 450 million now. I think it's 461 or something like that.
What was that time frame, Jared? When did it start? When did it finish? Or
I'm not sure it's actually started yet. I don't think they've actually started. I think the issue was that they went out to bid and got estimates back in 2022, and the inflation has been, especially in that time period, especially 22 and 23, was incredibly high, and it really drove the price up quite a bit.
thank you.
Jared, what is the mix of the bonds we're looking to do in terms of long-term and then the anticipation notes?
Yeah, so the general obligation will be 70 million and the bands will be 15.
Okay. Are they
And the general obligation will be a mix of probably 10s, 15s, 20s, and 30 year, depending on based on the life of the asset of the project.
got it? So are there, if they have different maturities, are they actually like 4 different issuances based upon the maturity?
No, it's a single issuance. Two different, one for the bands and one for the geo bonds.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'll be a competitive sale.
May I just interrupt for a second? There aren't any more action items. I do have to jump off. Are there any more action items? Or
I don't think
that?
No,
Okay. All right. I'm going to jump off at this point.
Thank you, Ed.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
That's it.
thank you.
And just one more point for me, Ms. Chair, and interest rates obviously look like they will. It seems like they will be going down, right, Jared? I mean,
It seems like it. Yeah. Whether or not we'll be able to take advantage of that, in a month, we'll see. I don't anticipate there being a whole lot of change. I think most of what we're seeing is in the, 3.5% range for general obligation bonds of similar towns, similar sizes.
yeah, we're very volatile, obviously, the last couple of days. Okay, thank you. Good.
Yep, no problem.
And our consultant still feels good about his estimation that our bond rating will hold?
Yeah, nothing's changed on that front. And we'll before we know it, we're going to start working on the next bond issuance and doing the development of that bond sale. Not too long. And working to keep things down there and on track with his latest analysis of what he thinks how the rating agencies are going to react to what we're doing. So
One final thing, do you think next we could have a presentation from Alan Lowe in conjunction with the finance department to talk about the timelines for the school building, in particular the high school, and expected cash outflows? So a cash flow projection and concurrent with the construction milestones.
yeah, I think I can I have a document that I could probably send to you. Let me just double check it with Jim Giuliano. Alan may be out for a bit, so I don't know if he would be around for that meeting, but we can certainly give you an update on the progress, a more detailed update on the progress.
Thank you.
Yep.
If there's nothing else, gentlemen, shall we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. I motion.
I just remember next month, the first Monday is Labor Day, so we will be meeting on the second Monday, September 9th.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, Tom.
All
Thank
right.
you, Jerry.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Kendrick. Thank you, Irene.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks.
Have a good day.